Back in the day, I used to think that if I didn't go to art school, I'd never be a real artist, whatever that means. There was always this stubborn belief tucked away in my mind that art school was the magical gateway, that there's no other way to learn art, make it a career, or become successful. I'd scroll through social media and see all these amazing artists who studied under famous instructors, went to fancy schools, posting their perfectly lit studio photos and their stacks of sketchbooks, their degrees framed neatly on the wall, and I'd feel like I was falling short. Like I missed the train that was supposed to take me to where all the real artists were going. But over time and with a lot of trial and error, I learned that you absolutely can learn art without going to art school. And not only that, sometimes not going might even be the better path for you. So once again, join me on a quest to become a better artist while we explore how can you learn and excel at art even without an expensive degree. The beautiful and at the same time terrifying thing about art is that it's not like becoming a doctor or an engineer. There's no single roadmap. No one-size-fits-all degree that suddenly makes you qualified. Art is messy, personal, and endlessly unique. And therefore, putting a curriculum around it is very tricky on itself. You can't just mass-produce creativity, and that means everyone's path will look a little bit different. When you teach yourself, whether through YouTube tutorials, online courses, or just drawing in your bedroom every night, you're not missing out on art school. You're building your own version of it. You're your own teacher, your own classmate, your own critic. You set the pace, you shape the curriculum. And honestly, that's daunting but very powerful. And let's be honest, not always easy. When you're self-taught, there's no teacher reminding you of deadlines, no class critiques to keep you accountable. There's no one handing you structure on a silver platter. You have to build it yourself. Some people find that easy, others struggle with it so much. In itself, that can feel overwhelming at times. There's so much to learn: anatomy, perspective, color theory, composition, lighting. It can feel impossible to know where to start and how to find a perfect balance between theory and practice. But trust me, that same uncertainty is what teaches you resilience. When you're self-taught, you learn to figure things out. You get comfortable with confusion. You learn to fail and to move forward regardless. Those skills can be very valuable later on in life. Every time you get stuck, every time your drawing doesn't turn out how you hoped, you're forced to troubleshoot, to problem solve, and to adapt. And that's the foundation of artistic growth. You learn so much faster and better if you're the one who solves the problems instead of the problem being solved by someone else. Art school might give you a shortcut, a little structure, a bit of mentorship, but it can give you curiosity. And curiosity is the thing that keeps you learning long after graduation. Because art is a lifelong journey. I think the biggest misconception about art school, at least the one that I had, is that it guarantees success. That if you go, you'll magically become a great master, a well-known, sold-out artist. But in reality, art school gives you access, not mastery. That is entirely up to you. You still have to put in the same hours, the same practice, the same energy. I've seen artists with no formal education create work that feels alive, emotional, and breathtaking because they've built their skills along the way. And I've seen art school graduates who still struggle with the basics, often falling short of even the simplest tasks. So I guess art doesn't care about your degree as much as we do. Now, that doesn't mean that art school is bad. There are absolutely reasons someone might want to go. Structured feedback and curriculum, connections and networking, and access to equipment and critiques. But those things don't define your success. They're just tools, and tools are only as good as how you use them. When you're learning on your own, you have different tools. Community forums, online workshops, YouTube tutorials, Patreon memberships, art books, Discord groups. The internet has made it so that the art world isn't behind a giant paywall anymore. You can learn color theory from the world-class painters on YouTube. You can download the free figure drawing references in seconds. You can join art communities where professionals give feedback for free, just because they love helping others learn and grow. That's what's so beautiful about the world we live in now. Education has become open source. It's not about where you study anymore. It's about how deeply you care about a certain topic. But I want to be honest about something else too. Learning on your own can get quite lonely. There's no class to celebrate small wins with, no peers sitting beside you, struggling through the same assignment. And sometimes that solitude can feel overwhelming. So it's important to build your own community. Find your people online, artists who inspire you, who support your growth, who understand your weird niche art obsessions. Reach out to people you deem at your own level and try to form joint drawing sessions. Even having just 1 or 2 people to share your progress with can make a huge difference. Because growth often doesn't happen in isolation, and happens in conversation, in feedback, in shared experiences, and in gentle encouragement. And while we're on the topic, let's talk about the elephant in the room, imposter syndrome. That inner voice that says you didn't go to art school, so you'll never be as good as those who did. Now that's just BS. What matters isn't the letters after your name. It's the hours you spend creating, experimenting, failing, and trying again. It's your willingness to learn and stay curious despite all the hurdles. That's what builds mastery. It's the body of work you have to show in your portfolio. So if you're wondering what road is better for you, the real difference between art school and being self-taught, besides the massive difference in price, is that in art school you get assignments, and when you're self-taught, you assign yourself. You create your own deadlines, your own challenges, your own reason to keep going. And that autonomy, that freedom, shapes not just your art, but your identity as well. You become a lifelong learner. You stop drawing because you have to, and start drawing because you want to. And that shift changes everything. So if you've ever sat there wondering, can I really learn art on my own? The answer is yes. I and so many others already have. Every time you open your sketchbook, every time you push through frustration, and every time you decide to draw even when no one's watching, you're building the foundation of your craft. Art school doesn't guarantee that you'll become great. Showing up, curiosity, and time does. And the funny thing is, when you start to fall in love with the process, the labels stop mattering. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop asking, am I good enough? And start asking, what should I explore next? Maybe art school can give you structure, but teaching yourself, that gives you freedom. It teaches you how to learn, how to dig for knowledge, how to chase curiosity down rabbit holes, and how to grow without waiting for the next grade or assignment. And if you ask me, that's the mark of a true artist.